They say money doesn't change you. It only reveals you. But what if I told you your bank account isn't your problem? Your resume, your hustle, your goals, they're not the issue. The issue is your character. And until you fix that, until you refine that inner temple, you will keep circling the same deserts of frustration, emptiness, and missed potential. Confucius once said, "The superior man is modest in his speech, but exceeds in his actions." Yet today, the world shouts. Loud voices and louder egos fill every corner of our screens, telling us to chase success at any cost. But few tell us to become worthy of success first. So I'll say what many are afraid to say. You don't attract wealth by begging the universe. You don't hold power by pretending to be powerful. You don't build fortune by cutting corners. You earn it in silence when your soul becomes strong enough to carry it. You don't have a money problem. You have a character gap. And until that gap is filled with discipline, truth, courage, restraint, and consistency, success will stay allergic to your name. Let me tell you a truth as old as time. Fortune follows form, not just the form of your pitch deck or your daily planner, but the form of your spirit, your moral architecture, your unseen, unspoken principles that guide you when no one is watching. Because wealth, true wealth, doesn't just visit the clever. It resides with the honorable. You must build what you seek to attract. Think of a man digging a well. He can scream for water, cry for rain, or blame the land. But until he digs, until he labors with his own hands through rock and resistance, the water stays hidden beneath. And when he digs, he discovers the truth. The resistance was never against him. It was for him. It was shaping him into someone strong enough to receive the water without wasting it. The same is true for wealth. The world resists the impatient. The universe denies the arrogant. It filters out the careless and blesses the prepared. Fix your character, and you won't need to chase fortune. It will begin to gravitate toward you, slowly at first, then all at once, because when you become a person of inner gravity, you start pulling in the very things others keep running toward in vain. So ask yourself, are you the kind of person success can trust? Can abundance rest in your hands without being squandered? Can responsibility enter your life without you collapsing under the weight of old habits? Your answers are not in your affirmations. They are in your actions. They are in how you treat people who can't help you. They are in what you do when the cameras are off and no praise is waiting. They are in the tone of your voice when you're angry, the way you show up when you're tired, and the decisions you make when you're afraid. You see, success isn't something you earn once. It's something you become worthy of every single day. You can read every book, repeat every mantra, and attend every seminar, but if your character is hollow, if your words don't match your walk, if your principles collapse under pressure, then your empire will be built on sand. Character is not about being perfect. It's about being aligned, where your thoughts, your words, and your actions stand in agreement. Even when it's hard, Confucius wrote, "The man who moves a mountain begins by carrying away small stones. And the first stones you must move are the ones lodged inside your own soul, the envy, the ego, the excuses, the comfort addiction, the self-deception. You must confront the lies you tell yourself, because every lie is a leak in your foundation, and over time, it will rot everything you build. No one ever talks about this. They say mindset is the secret. No, morality is the secret. Not in a religious sense, but in the Confucian sense, a code, a structure, a way of being that roots you in clarity while the world spins in confusion. You want to win? Then fix your internal government. Make your values your ruler. Make your conscience your counselor. And let integrity lead your campaign. You will be tested. Because the moment you decide to refine your character, the world will tempt you with shortcuts. Fast money, cheap praise, hollow victories. It will whisper, "You don't need to change. Just fake it until you make it." But here's the trap. When you fake it, you might make it. But when you get there, you won't be able to stay. Because the version of you who arrives won't have the strength to remain. You'll sabotage it. You'll crumble under the weight of blessings you were never built to bear. This is why so many people lose it all the moment they taste success. They never prepared their soul for the responsibility. They decorated their exterior while leaving the inside to decay. Not you. Not if you're serious about greatness. You must start from within. Every empire starts with a hidden blueprint. And yours begins with a simple question. Who must I become to hold the life I want? Not just to get it, but to carry it, to sustain it, to grow it, and still sleep well at night. Your fortune is not a number. It's a reflection, a mirror of who you are when no one's watching. The deeper your roots, the taller your reach. So when the world tries to rush you, when everyone's flaunting their highlight reel, when you feel behind and forgotten, remember this: oak trees don't envy wildflowers. They grow slower, quieter. But in time, they stand unshaken in storms that flatten others. Do not rush your rise. Build deeply. Build honestly. And build with the kind of character that even fortune bows to. Discipline is not punishment. It is permission. Permission to lead. Permission to grow. Permission to stand tall when others bend with every breeze. It is not about control. It is about command. Self-command. The kind that makes others trust you without needing proof. Confucius taught, "He who conquers himself is the mightiest warrior." And you must ask yourself, have you gone to war with your own weakness? Or are you still negotiating with your comfort, coddling your impulses, bargaining with procrastination like it's your friend? You cannot master the world until you master your mornings. You cannot influence others until you influence your own urges. And you cannot lead anything of value if your emotions still lead you. Discipline is not loud. It does not post selfies. It does not beg for validation. It is quiet. It wakes before the sun and bleeds without applause. It keeps promises no one sees and shows up whether it feels like it or not. This is the kind of refinement that wealth respects. Because the money will come eventually. But if it meets you too early, it will magnify your chaos, not fix it. And this is where so many fall. They rise with talent but crumble from the inside. Because talent can elevate you, but only character can hold you there. Success without preparation is a curse. An inheritance handed to a reckless soul becomes a weapon. And so the wise don't just chase wealth. They build themselves until they are wealth. Do you understand that? Until you are so full of value, so sharp in spirit, so refined in presence, that people feel elevated just by being near you. Because you don't speak from desire. You speak from depth. From having walked through your own shadows, from having earned your peace with sweat and pain and accountability. That is the kind of man or woman fortune seeks. You want to stand out. Then embody restraint in a world obsessed with reaction. Be still while others panic. Be consistent while others fluctuate. And be focused while others scatter. Do this, and you become rare. And anything rare becomes valuable. Now let's talk about clarity. Not just goal clarity, but identity clarity. You are not lost. You are just uncentered. And you cannot build fortune from a place of internal fog. The moment you see yourself clearly, not as your past, not as your mistakes, not as your fears, but as the architect of your life, you will begin to move differently. You will stop asking for permission. You will stop waiting for the world to choose you. Because a clear mind walks with power. A man of clarity doesn't need a map. He is the compass. Confucius said, "When we see men of a contrary character, we should turn inwards and examine ourselves." But today, we do the opposite. We blame. We project. We scroll through the failures of others to avoid fixing ourselves. But clarity doesn't come from noise. It comes from silence. From sitting with your truth until the lies fall off, until your ego breaks and your real self begins to rise. This is why solitude isn't loneliness. It's the forge where your future self is hammered into form. And once you find clarity, the vision follows. Vision is not fantasy. It is the disciplined imagination of the refined. It sees beyond trends. It sees what could be, not because it's easy, but because you've done the work to hold that vision without letting go. But here's the truth. Vision without character is manipulation, and vision with character becomes leadership. So before you cast your dreams on others, before you gather followers, raise capital, or speak about your future, ask yourself, have I earned the right to carry this vision? Have I bled for it, suffered for it, grown under its weight? Because when you've paid the price for your vision, you don't need to sell it. You embody it. You don't force belief. Your presence plants belief in others without saying a word. That's the silent power of inner refinement. And what anchors it all is purpose. Not the Instagram version of purpose, not the cute slogans or the six-figure coaching version, but the quiet knowing in your bones that you are here for something bigger than ease, bigger than image, bigger than comfort. Confucius didn't speak of purpose as something you find. He became it. One day, one action, one principle at a time, and so must you. Purpose is not a destination. It is a discipline, a daily vow. To speak truth even when it costs you. To stay upright even when the crowd bends. To serve others not for applause, but because you must. And when you live like that, purpose stops being a question. It becomes a presence. It is etched into the way you walk, the way you treat people, the way you work when no one's watching. And then, almost suddenly, fortune begins to appear. Not as a miracle, but as a mirror, reflecting the inner wealth you've built, one choice at a time. You see, wealth doesn't chase the ambitious. It honors the aligned. And when your actions match your values, when your daily life becomes an echo of your deepest truths, you don't just attract abundance. You sustain it. This is why it's not about how fast you climb, but about how deep you root. Because storms are coming. Delays will shake you. Failures will press against you like wind against stone. But if you have built your character well, you will not break. You will bend, but not shatter. You will adapt, but not abandon your code. And when others fall, not because they weren't talented, but because they weren't fortified, you will rise. slowly, quietly, unshackably, because you built from the inside out. And so, we arrive at the final truth. Not an ending, but a threshold. A doorway only the refined can walk through. Because here's the paradox. Once your character is strong enough, you no longer chase wealth. You outgrow the need to prove yourself with it. You see money as a tool, not a trophy. You see success not as a pedestal, but as a platform to serve. You become less concerned with applause and more focused on alignment. The world might still admire your results, but you know the real prize was always internal. Who you became in the process. Confucius said, the will to win, the desire to succeed, the urge to reach your full potential. These are the keys that will unlock the door to personal excellence. But let me add this, that door is not opened by wishful thinking. It is unlocked by sacrifice, sustained discipline, repeated choices made in darkness. Far from the eyes of the world. It is forged in the quiet moments where you choose courage over convenience, patience over panic, responsibility over resentment. And if you've done that, if you've walked through fire without burning your soul, then what you earn will never own you. Do not be fooled by glitter. Gold can glitter, but so can rot. True wealth gleams from within. The eyes that have wept but still see beauty, the hands that have labored without complaint, the voice that speaks only when it has something worth saying. Let others chase clout. You chase clarity. Let others compete for recognition. You compete with the man you were yesterday. Let others climb fast. You build deep, because eventually the storms will come. The crash of the markets, the betrayal of friends, the health scares, the silent nights, the moments of doubt. And it is then that your character will be tested like steel in fire. If you are hollow, you will break. But if you are whole, if your foundation is truth, honor, patience, and discipline, you will stand like the great mountains that laugh at the wind. You will not just survive. You will lead. You will lift others. And you will leave something behind that cannot be counted in dollars. A legacy of alignment. Let this sink into your bones. Your fortune is not something you chase. It is something you become. And once you become it, no one can take it. No crash can erase it. No failure can diminish it. Because when you fix your character, you stop needing to pursue success. Success begins to pursue you. The right people are drawn to you. The right opportunities find you. Doors open. Not because you force them, but because the universe recognizes alignment when it sees it. You are no longer someone trying to win. You are the win. Walking, breathing, building quietly in a loud, reckless world. And your fortune, in money, in respect, in peace, in legacy, is simply the shadow cast by your internal light. So do the work. Refine the man in the mirror. Purge the excuses. Break the habits. Sharpen your spirit like a blade forged in silence. Because in the end, this world doesn't need more rich men. It needs whole ones. It needs men and women whose success is not just in their hands, but in their hearts, in their code, in the quiet way they show up when no one's watching, in the value they bring without needing credit, in the peace they carry, even in chaos. Be one of those rare few, one of the quietly great. Fix your character, and your fortune will not only follow, it will stay, it will grow, and it will become something worth passing on. Not just wealth, but wisdom. Not just assets, but identity. Not just abundance, but honor. And that is what cannot be stolen. Now go. Live it, be it. Let the world feel the presence of a soul that needs no title to lead. You don't need to prove you're ready. You only need to become someone who cannot be ignored. Refine your character, and let everything else follow.